A few days ago, President Trump imposed a 12.5% tariff on Australian goods entering the US, supposedly because Australia isn't doing enough to combat forced labour. Now, without putting too fine a point on it, that's a pretty weak justification. Australia has one of the world's more developed corporate modern slavery reporting regimes. Under the Modern Slavery Act, large businesses have to examine and disclose the risk of forced labour and other forms of modern slavery across their operations and supply chains. Now, Australia has also been debating stronger measures, including a specific prohibition on importing goods made with forced labour. So yes, while there is a legitimate argument that our laws should go further than they do, there's really no credible basis for treating Australia as though it just ignores the problem. Australia also has a free trade agreement with the United States, a deep security partnership with Washington, and a trade relationship that already favours the US. Yet Australian exporters have been placed in the same 12.5% category as China and Vietnam. If you value commercially grounded analysis on how geopolitics is affecting business, subscribe to the channel. These tariffs are part of a much broader campaign. Trump's earlier global tariffs were struck down by the US Supreme Court. His administration then used a temporary measure to maintain a 10% surcharge. As that expired, it moved to Section 301 of the Trade Act, a legal mechanism that survived previous court challenges. The forced labour investigation has now given the administration a way to impose tariffs on countries which account for about 99% of US imports. Another investigation is already examining whether foreign overproduction is harming American companies, and that could create the basis for further tariffs. The administration seems to be working backwards. It wants a near universal tariff regime, and it's searching for legal arguments that are capable of sustaining it. Now, a credible forced labour policy would identify suspect products, companies and supply chains, and then it would publish evidence, target specific abuses, and establish clear compliance standards. To be clear, I'm in favour of all of those things. But a blanket tariff on Australian goods does none of that. It creates costs for US importers who will raise prices, pressure Aussie suppliers to reduce their margins, or find alternative sources. Australian exporters may lose sales, delay investment, or redirect products into other markets. Some major exports, like beef, gold, and copper, are still exempt, and that will limit the immediate damage, but it doesn't really resolve the wider problem. Trade agreements are supposed to give companies confidence about market access. Under this administration, access to the US market increasingly depends on presidential discretion and whichever legal argument is available at the time. President Trump appears to see tariffs as proof of strength. This particular policy is arbitrary, opportunistic, and economically self-defeating because it weakens trust in the United States, raises costs for American businesses, and encourages other countries to build trade relationships that reduce their exposure to Washington. Australia should challenge these tariffs firmly. It should also recognize that the global trading system is being damaged by the country that did more than any other to build it.